Hello, everyone.
How are you?
Oh, living the dream, living the dream.
Okay.
I would say living the good life, but
Why the life can't be good to you?
no, 'cause when I said, the Kanye song,
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the Good Life, that
Yeah.
popped up in my head. So I was like, oh, I don't
Mm,
know if I am living the good life.
that's good. That's good. Well, I already said your name, but I'm Ashleigh.
And I'm going to say my name again. It's Toniah because people still get it wrong.
They sure do. They sure do. We were watching something yesterday. Oh, Real Housewives. We were catching up, and one of Robin's friends' name was Tania, not spelled the same way.
Of
I was like,
course.
aw, look at
Mm-hmm.
that Tania. It was Tania. But
Yeah.
anyway.
Or honestly, that could go both ways. Tanya.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed Tania for the spelling. But anywho, you're listening to another
Hue I Do.
episode that's going to explain to you why content creators are going to take over the wedding industry like today. So I have a question for you. Something
A
I read
question for me?
online. I saw something online. I gotta get your take on this. How
Oh,
you would
okay. All
feel.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
So this person, let's call her Malika. Malika has been dating her boyfriend for some time. In 2022, they went to several of his friends' weddings. And in 2023, they have been invited to 5 weddings this year. And some of them are out of the country. And all of these invitations are basically her boyfriends plus one. Let's call her boyfriend Darius. So is Darius and Malika. So she wants she knows these people. She's really excited because, like going to weddings can be just fun. And plus, like, you're going to like a destination wedding. But she's like, how am I gonna pay for this? Because paying for, the clothes that you're gonna wear, getting your hair done, buying your ticket or getting a rental car, then the hotel, then the gift. And it's like she wants to tell her boyfriend, she wants to tell Darius, like, can you help me out? Because this is expensive. And like she had already kind of set the goals and like the finances for the year for her, but she kind of feels like all of her not all of her expenses, but like a lot of this is like all around like just going to his friends' weddings. And she hasn't like taken him to any of like her friends' weddings. They visit her family like twice a year, but that's pretty much it. So like pretty much these are the more expensive trips that they go on. And even like when they fly to see her family, her parents like help pay for it. So, and of course they don't have to pay for a hotel. So like she's kind of like, what should I do? Like, should I ask him to kind of help me with paying for some of this? Or like, should I just be grateful that, I'm being invited to these weddings? Or should I just like what should she do? Should she tell him like, look, I can't come to all this because I can't afford it, or you got to pay for it? Or like, what would you do if you were in that situation?
You already know what I'm going to say, to be honest. These are all his friends, and the fact that she paid for majority of the trips last year,
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like she probably needs to have this conversation with him.
Mm-hmm.
And in relationships, communication is key.
I think
I
she
don't
paid
know.
for at least her way. Like I think they went
Oh, her
Dutch.
way.
The only trip that
Oh.
like so they will go see her family twice a year, but her family will help chip in for the flight. So he doesn't even really have to like pay for that. That's the only thing they do that's like her side. Everything else is like going to weddings on his side. But it seems, me reading between the line, Malika and Darius go Dutch.
You know what? If she likes it, I love it.
I knew you were about to say that. Like, you know what? Y'all got it.
Yeah. I am not going to judge anyone on how they operate in their relationships and what they do as far as like their money, because
Yeah.
how my husband and I may do it is probably not how you and your husband do it. So,
Yeah.
you know, if they like it, I love it.
She don't like it though. That's why she wrote in. She need help.
I'm gonna still say the same thing. A conversation needs to be had, and they need to budget. And so they need to talk about what he can afford and what he can't afford. And honestly, they may not be able to go to all the weddings. And I
Yeah.
understand that those are all his friends, and you know his friends want him there. But if it's not in the budget, maybe it's not in the budget.
Yeah.
So they need to have a conversation for one and choose which wedding we are going to and which wedding we are not.
You're going to have to prioritize the weddings you do go to and the weddings you don't go to. And I don't know if it's everybody's situation like that, but I feel like men be real loose and fast sometimes with who they call their friends. So, like, it's, yeah, someone you were cool with back in the day, but how many times do y'all talk? And it's mostly through Instagram. Like, that's not your friend. It's your acquaintance, and that's okay. Like, sometimes you get the invitation to one of those acquaintances' birthdays or weddings or event, and maybe you go, maybe you don't. So prioritize like who it is. If he wants you there, he's gonna have to help pay for you to be there. He's gonna have to cover it. But I wouldn't put that on me. Like, these are your friends, these are your relationships. And she wasn't even stressing like that part, like she wants to be able to go, but it's just like financially, it just doesn't make sense. If that's the case, something's got to give and he'll be all right. And if he's not, you'll learn something else. Please remember, friends, family, Huboos, if y'all have any questions y'all want us to discuss, please, 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 please send them our way. Speak now or forever hold your peace. You can find the link to do so in our bio, and there you can leave us a voice note or you could just respond to a question. And we're going to also ask you questions that you can respond to through there. Just a quick reminder. So like I said last week, we are going to start reading your reviews on these episodes. And if you leave us a review and you hear your review being read out loud, please hit us up, email us, or DM us and let us know, and we'll send you something to thank you for your time. So I want to read y'all a 5-star review we got recently from Put Me In, Coach. It said, I got married in May 21 and really enjoyed planning my wedding, which was challenging living in Texas and getting married in Ohio. I'm currently helping my neighbor plan her wedding and discovered this podcast. I really enjoy the dialogue, especially this or that, as I am interested in starting a wedding planning business. This podcast introduced me to new perspectives and provides insights on the challenges of joining the industry. Thank you so much, Put Me In, Coach. Let us know once your wedding planning business is up and running. We'll definitely show you some love. But thank you for that really, really sweet review. Again, don't forget to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. So we appreciate it.
So now we're going to dive into the episode. Today we'll be talking about content creation. I was not on this episode this go round. However, Ashleigh held it down as usual. So you all will enjoy this episode. Stay tuned.
We have a very, very special guest with us today. Guest, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Ashleigh. My name is Chip Dizárd. I'm out of Washington, D.C. area, photographer, content creator, do video as well. So I'm glad to be here on the podcast. Thanks for having me.
So excited to have you. This is a topic that I've been wanting to kind of talk about for at least like a month and a half or so. So really excited to have you on, especially because you have been in the industry for a minute. How long have you been in the industry for the folks that don't know?
Well, I've been doing it unofficially, probably since I'm dating myself, but at least I started doing weddings in like 2007 and 2008. Ooh. So that's been a while ago. And then 2010 is when I did my first like wedding that got me in the little notoriety in the DMV area. And then I kind of really started to organize my business in 2015 because I was like, for 4 or 5 years, I was just out there in the wilderness, didn't know what I was doing. And then I said, let me go ahead and try to organize this thing. And I've been full time since 2015, actually. So I've been doing this a while. Not a terribly long time, but enough time that, I've seen a lot of stuff. seen a lot of shifts.
Exactly.
Not so many, but seen a lot of shifts, a lot of couples, a lot of stuff. So, and I'm fortunate to still work in the industry.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like you are one of those like veterans, in a good way, meaning one of the go-to names. Like when you think of wedding photography, especially within like Black weddings, it's only a handful, but definitely your name is one that comes up a lot. So you've carved that space for yourself.
Yeah, I'm grateful. I never would have thought that when I started this. I started it as a friend, as for a friend, just doing a favor for him, and then I never expected to build a business and any kind of career off of it. I think most photographers you talk to, especially that's in the wedding space, they fall into it. They don't go to college, and they don't go, "Oh, I want to do weddings." At least the guys. The ladies may, some of them, but the guys are like, we fall into it. Someone asks us to do it, and then we just get, hey, let's go.
Well, it's definitely working out for you, and your work is beautiful, and you're an educator, meaning you're helping these, the folks come up so that they can be as successful as you. And it's more sometimes than just photography. It's the business side as well. So all of those reasons were really why I was very excited to talk to you about this, because the thought of content creation and all of that is, I feel like, somewhat new. So there are some that are more, I guess, kind of drawn to it, but I'm like, I want to talk about this with someone who's seen various ebbs and flows and trends and, cycles through the wedding space and just, really have that kind of conversation. So super excited. So we'll transition into This or That, which is a game we play every single week on the show, where you pick between one option or the other and explain why. And because you're our guest, you will go first.
Okay.
But 4 quick rounds, nothing too intense. But think about this first one from the perspective of you're planning your own wedding. Which would you prefer to splurge on? A wedding stylist or a stationeer?
Wow. I'm going with a stylist.
Okay.
I'm going to the stylist because I think that I'll give this a little bit away. I am probably going to be planning a wedding really soon with my soon-to-be fiance. So that's a whole nother thing when this airs. So she knows it's coming in 2024, but it's a whole nother story. But I would do a stylist. I know, right? I'm saying this on the podcast, right?
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm not only a vendor, I'm going to be a client too, right? So, but I would do a stylist because I think that's important. I love stationery, and I think it's important. But I think that being in the visual imagery and into that, I would go with the stylist.
You gotta look good. I mean,
yeah. I love stationery, and I love my stationery people. But if I had this or that. Stylist is what I got.
That's a good answer. I would probably say the exact same thing for the exact same reason.
Yeah.
So round 2, when it comes to weddings, and this has been kind of a topic I've seen pop up in a few of these trend articles, but are you pro-wedding hashtag or anti-wedding hashtag?
Wow. So you got me thinking, what do I really want? See, you asked me this maybe a year ago, I would have a totally different answer. Now, actually, I give the answer. I would just say pro wedding hashtag so I can see everything and curate everything. content creator, so I'm going with the pro wedding hashtag.
I love it.
Yeah.
I keep seeing these articles that are like, the wedding hashtag is dead. We're not doing it anymore. And I'm like, yes, we are.
Yeah, we are.
We're still doing it.
We are. There was a friend of mine. We were looking at for somebody's wedding on Instagram. I was over a friend's house during Christmas holidays, and we couldn't remember where their pictures were, but we searched the hashtag. And the hashtag, of course, other people had it, but we saw the pictures from like 2019.
Exactly.
Right? You know, it was crazy. So pro wedding hashtag. Let's go. Let's make it easy too to spell and not like numbers or anything like that.
It's
or
stuff that's super concrete. Exactly. Something I should be able to remember and just type it
exactly
the right way. All right. So round 3, would you say for like having a wedding content creator? So would you make someone in the wedding party the content creator or make a wedding guest if you're not, using a professional?
I would go probably a wedding guest. That way I want my wedding party people to focus, and to be part of the thing. If I didn't hire somebody, I would have a wedding guest because that way they feel very important, very valued, and they would really do it. And some of my friends who are guests, if I gave them a phone, I gave them the ability to do that at my wedding, they would be like, oh my God, yes. And they would, really go overboard on it, probably. So, I would just use a guest right now.
That's a good idea. I think I would do the same. Someone that you can even come a little early if you want to get some of the behind the scenes stuff. But let these girls focus. Let the wedding party focus.
Yeah, that's what I say too. Just let them focus. It's enough going on.
Right, exactly. Okay, so final round. And this is based off 2 kind of popular videos that I've seen. But what do you think is the better one? So the Freakum dress one, where it's like as she's getting ready. And then the Cuff It challenge, which you know the Cuff It challenge.
Yeah, I'm just, right about now, Ashleigh, I'm tired. I'm cuffed out. So I think at the time of this recording, I'm just, it's 2023 now. If I had to move, I'm just going to go with the Freakum dress because, Cuff It, I love it, but I'm tired of seeing the same thing a lot. I don't know. I'm just tired of that. The Freakum dress was good too, but I think that it took more. Cuff It is easier because people is easier dance, and then they got other people involved in it.
Right.
Freakum dress, did they have other people involved in it, really?
Not really. It's just like mostly the bride, just through the different stages of getting ready. Yeah, it's more of her and makeup artists, and I saw that a lot too. But I think that, we saw the Cuff It. We're cuffed out, so. I agree. As someone who was drawn to that song off Renaissance more than the others, I'm like, y'all are almost ruining this song for me.
Yeah. That's all we can think about when we hear it now. Yeah. That's all. That's all we can think about. So.
And some folks can't hit the beat, so they're kind of they're doing a lot of movement. It's not they're on the 2s and 4s instead of the 1s and 3s. It's the whole.
Yeah. I'm going to date myself, Ashley. You remember there's always wedding challenges, but there's a challenge back in either 2015 or 2016. I can't remember, but it was My Boo. Remember My Boo challenge? And they did the Running Man. Yeah. That one, I filmed so many weddings doing that. One of them even got in Essence on my Instagram years ago. So if there's challenges, I've seen them. I've filmed them. I don't think I've done. I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot. That was. I'm dating myself, but that had to be circa 2016, 2015. My Boo when they did the little running thing. So yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And there are more challenges to come. I'm quite sure. Now that TikTok is here and exploded.
Exactly.
But back then it was no TikTok, but it was still challenges.
That's hilarious because I didn't even think about it from the perspective of like, okay, photographers and videographers, and even I would imagine probably like planners that are at these weddings that see the same, like, all right, oh, we want to do, and it's like,
Yeah,
all right, go. Let me make sure to
exactly.
just include the, DJs are like,
Yeah,
let me
yeah.
throw this song on the list because I already know.
Exactly. So people don't think that when I'm with people, we can go to like maybe 25, 30 weddings a year. And most
Yeah.
people who are guests maybe go to one wedding. I went to two weddings as a guest last year, and I'll go to two this year. But
Hmm.
prior to that, I didn't go to many weddings as a guest. I really didn't. I probably went at least 5, 6 years, and I
Hmm.
didn't go to any weddings as a guest just because just in my age bracket, people weren't getting married.
Hmm.
Now I'm going to remarriages. I'm going to, you know what I mean? I'm doing
Yeah.
different things now. So, and then some people just get married for the first time. So,
Hmm.
so just experiencing being a wedding guest is an experience for me. And I like it. And I sit
Yeah.
down and I don't have any camera and I sit down and I enjoy myself.
Get to really be there as
Yes.
a true guest.
Yes,
I
I
love
do.
that. I
Mhm.
love that. Well, like I mentioned before, I'm excited for us to have this conversation. The content creator is something that has been just so interesting to watch for us. And with Hue I Do, we joined TikTok probably back in 2020, but didn't really do much. It was one of those things where it's like, that's for the kids. We're not on TikTok because on Instagram, there's certain types of content. Every platform has its own respective audience, group of people, the type of stuff they're pushing out. But once we got on TikTok and start noticing, okay, there is a whole world over here. Like there's a whole community of people that are planning their weddings. There a lot of folks that are after they're done planning their weddings, they still have that energy from it and they've learned from their own weddings and they're like, "Oh, well, we want to be able to do this, provide this as a service to another bride." But as reels are becoming prioritized on Instagram and just video content overall, we're just seeing more of an uptick in video content just like overall. So of course this would heavily be influenced and seep into the wedding industry as well. So, just to kind of get started, what was kind of like the first thing, or the first, maybe it's the first content creator, or the first thing that kind of triggered it for you to see that, like, oh, this is about to be a trend that is about to like take off?
Yeah. Well, actually, I was thinking about, I'm giving some historical context because I have to go back. Because
Hmm.
when I first started in the wedding industry in 2008, 2007, I
Hmm.
was doing more video. And it was a
Mm.
hard fight to get anybody to book videographers. It just was. People didn't book in 2005, 6, 7, 8. And if you did book a videographer, it was not the cinematic kind. It was like the videographer, like in my wedding, I was married prior, and I got
Hmm.
married in 2001. And the video with my wedding is just a guy stationary with a big camera, a
Yeah.
VHS tape. So I'm just dating myself, but I'm just being real. That's a video that we were used to. So when I got into
Hmm.
the video, I said, if I'm gonna get into weddings, I'm gonna try to go the path of least resistance. So I got into maybe video. I said I'll morph into photos a little bit later because everybody was a photographer and everybody
Hmm.
did photos. And I was like, not everybody's doing video. Then cinematic video came out. Still people didn't want to book video. Still people were skeptical about it.
Hmm.
Then about 2018, more people started getting into video. At your wedding, I'm quite sure you book videographer, correct?
Sure did.
Correct. Was there ever a choice for you not to book a videographer? It
Absolutely
was
not.
okay. Okay, so I want to say around 2018, that's when
Hmm.
there was a watershed moment. I saw it from 2010 to 2015. It was a struggle.
Hmm.
Videographers, I mentored videographers, I talked about, and they never did that. Now we're seeing now in the wedding industry, and before I'm going to answer your question, but just give you some context here. And now I'm seeing that people now want to book video and photo together as a package. I'm
Mm.
seeing that a lot. They want a photographer. They want to deal with one vendor and sometimes even a photo booth. They want a
Mm.
360 with that.
Yeah.
People are now wanting packages. So what I'm saying, when I saw the content creation coming now, this is just another morph of the industry. So what I tell
Mm.
people and what I tell mentees is that if you don't change with the times, you will be pretty much extinct. Okay, because it changes. It just changes. People didn't want video because it was an expense they didn't want. Plus, the videos look bad. Then once people got cinematic video, once YouTube became popular, now we have TikTok and vertical video. I used to be so against vertical video. I was so against it. I hated it. But now I see it. It makes sense now. But I change with the time. So content creation, in my opinion, is just another morph of the industry. And I think going forward in 2023 and beyond, this is something that again comes with resistance from a lot of vendors. Some people don't like it.
Right.
I'm in favor of it because I know there's a business aspect to it and it can provide for someone's livelihood. And I'm all about, especially Black businesses or any businesses, that if that can provide for your livelihood and if you can get a piece of that, the $1 billion industry in the wedding business, go for it. So I see it as a natural progression. I mean, it was genius when I saw that. And I say, you know what? These are teenagers now that are going to have, instead of having, I hate to say this, but stationary, they're going to put in their budget a content creator. They're going to they may cut something else out. I don't know, or add to it. We just don't know. Because like I said, like how video was cut out. If we go to our parents or our grandparents' weddings, they didn't have video in their wedding. You know what I mean? Let's just go back. My parents got married in the 60s, and of course they didn't have video, but they have an album.
Right. They definitely have the photos.
If they did have video, it would be on some kind of tape. I don't even know what they had in the 60s for video. But I'm just saying technology increases, knowledge increases. We have to move with those times.
I agree 100%. I'm like, I remember, let's say last spring, last summer, seeing a few vendors kind of complain about their brides coming to them with something they saw off TikTok. And I'm like, I get it for a certain, like, to an extent, but also I feel like this is what it is now. So you just kind of need to get over it in a sense, like, because, and I wonder, what have you seen, or kind of like, what are your thoughts around this, where I feel as if, because especially the content creator brides, or, like the girls that have been navigating their entire experience through, say, a TikTok, or maybe they're documenting it on Instagram or YouTube. But for the people that have been kind of using this as a diary, and then also as a community, they're getting information, they're getting inspiration. They're, seeing that, oh, someone whose wedding is like 2 months before mine is doing this. I didn't think about that. Let me go back to my vendor and see, can I do this? Or can we add this? And I'm seeing some planners specifically, and even some vendors overall, are like, no, I'm the authority. I know this space. So, like, don't come to me with this stuff that you've seen online. And that to me is like, that's just not the right attitude. So I'm wondering, like, have you seen anything like that? Or how have you noticed, like, vendors adapting to this?
Yeah. So, wow, that's a great question. I think that a few things. Vendors are, and I could talk from just the photographers and videographers standpoint. I can't talk on planners or other caterers or anything like that.
Yeah.
But sometimes that, and I'm part of that tribe too. So sometimes a lot of us complain about things that we cannot control. And if people are going to give us a Pinterest board, that some people say, well, we don't do shot lists. I'm the expert. I know the shots. And I get that. I give a shot list. If that makes my bride feel comfortable, do I go by the shot list? Of course I can. But if somebody takes the time to fill that out, that's what I'm going to give. If they take the time to go on TikTok to do that. So I see both sides of the spectrum where people, they do complain about it. But I think it's here. It's like Pinterest. You're going to go on Pinterest, at least some people still do, to plan their wedding. Now go on TikTok. Right. And if that bride or groom, because we talk about, brides and grooms here, and if they are not, if they're doing that, they may not be your ideal client. What I mean by that is that if you don't want someone to, there's some people that you got to get inspiration from somewhere, and people see things. Yeah. That's how we get booked. I mean, people see my work, or they hear of me word of mouth, and then they look on your website, and then they fill out an inquiry form. There's some very popular photographer friends of mine that can do no social media advertising, no paid ads, because he or she's social media is so tight in TikToks and Instagram Reels that they use that as inspiration. So it could be a little ego thing. So if X person, bride or groom, sends me, John Smith's photography stuff that they want like that. And that's happened to me before. But I'm quite sure someone has said some of my work to somebody else. So our ego can't get involved in it. You won't be always the first choice. You always won't be the second choice. But as long as you are a choice and you're getting business, it doesn't matter. And I think that we have to, as vendors, we have to put our ego down and say, this is the way of the world, or figure out something else to do, because it's here. It's here. I mean, my primary market is not a bride that may not send me stuff on TikTok, but guess what? Their daughters, because I deal with more 40 and over brides now. That's just my market, because I know my customer. You understand what I'm saying? I deal with second marriages. I do that very well. I deal with small, intimate weddings. So I know that I'm not going to deal with somebody who's 25, somebody who's 28, like I used to deal with. But I understand that market. But somebody who's 50 getting married, or second marriage, they may have a daughter that's 25, right? And the daughter may look on TikTok to send the mom some inspiration.
Exactly.
But I get that. But for me, vendors have to know their market, know who they're serving, and then move accordingly.
Exactly that. I think back to even just people I know who've gotten married for like a second time, or gotten married a little bit older. And a lot of their inspiration, a lot of the stuff that they saw or wanted to do came from like their nieces or their children, or, people seeing this. I was on Twitter the other day and I saw that someone said, she's not getting married, but her sister is. So her TikTok is just full of wedding content, even though that has nothing to do with her life. And it's like, you probably looked up bridesmaids dresses, or, bachelorette destination, whatever. And then now the algorithm has all this content being served up to you. So for sure.
And people love looking for things. Think about it. Everybody loves to be the plug, right? Ashleigh, especially, and you had a wedding. So your bridesmaids, I just did a wedding shower, not a bridal shower. We call them wedding showers now, right? It was co-ed. And just this past weekend, I did one, and the maid of honor, and this is either a second marriage, older couple, they're over 40. I'm quite sure they have some grown children, some other stuff, the wedding shower. But the maid of honor took a lot of pride for a wedding shower. She texted me, called me. They had a shot list, because some people would say, oh my God, she had a shot list for a wedding shower? Oh, that's just doing the most. That's just doing the most. But guess what? That's what they wanted. And I was grateful, because with a shot list, I know exactly what they want. I went exactly down that list, and I got video and photos of everything they wanted. So, and did they send me some stuff for TikTok? No, but she had exactly what she wanted. And I think people know what they want in this day and age, and you have to deliver and over deliver for people. So back in the day, you can try to get away with some stuff, but now people have in their head what they want, the style. I mean, you get hired as vendors for different styles you do, different things you don't do, and don't get hired for stuff that you don't do.
Exactly. And I noticed even just the content that we put out on Hue I Do, like for TikTok, some of that stuff is are the videos that do really, really well. Like after my wedding. So I got married in 2020 downstairs, but we had our vow renewal November 21. And that was the wedding we really wanted. And so I think I posted a picture once, and someone asked about our shot list. And because I was helping Toniah out, because she was in this process herself, I just posted a video that was like, this is my shot list. These are the, shots that I asked, and we were able to get it. And I'm seeing that this is the video that a lot of people are bookmarking, and a lot of people are like, coming back to. And it's like, because
it's helpful.
You have folks that are like,
it's helpful.
I didn't think about this. I need a shot list, or I didn't think about that shot. Because also just kind of explaining like, this is a shot that I got, or even afterwards, like, dang, these are shots I kind of wish I would have gotten, But I'm
That's
telling
it.
you, just
get it.
so you don't make the same mistakes I did. And
Correct.
people are like, oh my gosh, thank you. Because that's just another thing that you're not thinking about. And all the micro assignments and projects you got to do to plan a wedding, preparing your shot list. And I was grateful that my photographer sent me a questionnaire in advance that's like, hey, what shots do you want? But not everybody does that.
They don't do that.
And I thought that was something everybody did.
No, because a lot of photographers, you remember, there's a song. Remember that song, Tyrone, by Erykah Badu? Said, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my, you know what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of us are sensitive, and as an artiste, and I'm the artistic type, because like I said, it's subjective. Photography, videography is art. Yeah. If I give you a shot list, that means I'm a robot to some people, and that I got to do X, Y, and Z. I need to have the freedom to create. So you have those types, but you should know that when you hire that person, and either try to talk with him or her or go through there, because everybody does not like, I could name like 3 photographers off the top of my head right now that hate shot lists, never use them. And they are wildly successful. If I drop their names right here, you'll be like, oh, wow, they hate shot lists. And I have personal relationships with them. And I know. But then I know some photographers that are successful like me, they use shot lists. And I'm fine with it. So it's who you deal with and what you're going and what you want to deal with, or what is the outcome. Do the ends justify the means? And if you get what you get without the shot list, I mean, and then sometimes, here's the other side to that, Ashleigh. Sometimes there can be people that are so ingrained in every little checklist to miss everything. Yeah. They miss. It's just over. It's so much. Right. And it's hard to tell somebody that on their wedding day, because they looked at the venue, they looked at that, where you can have, paralysis by analysis, you're looking for a ring and 10 reasons not to get this shape ring, or you can talk yourself out of anything. There's cons with everything. I mean, it's a blessing, but it can be a curse as well, because it's like the curse of knowledge. We know things as vendors that we know that can happen, but we have to give it to the public and give it in a way that works. So, but I'm sorry, I don't want to get off the tangent, but that's just my stream of consciousness with this, because I'm very passionate about this, because order is a good thing. Because I mean, just a sidebar, I was taking pictures at a funeral not too long ago, and I never really take pictures at a funeral. But one thing I told the family when I showed them the pictures, because they wanted things to go a certain way, and I said, you know what? Weddings have rehearsals. Guess what? Funerals never have rehearsals.
Right.
You think about that. Yeah. So if I put a TikTok video out there and say, you know what? I have taken funeral photography, and there's some people because there's some people like, Chip, man, my loved one died and I wanted just the whole essence of the day. I wish I would have thought about that. And I'll put a TikTok video about things to consider about a funeral photography. That may do well. I don't know. I've never done it. I'm just have this thought, because people don't think about every little thing, because like I said, weddings have an order. Yeah. But other events don't have an order, because funerals are not planned, clearly, right? At all. So things can get out of order really quickly. And I saw some things get out of order. Same things with wedding. Weddings have a timeline and have a plan. And weddings, as you know, can get wildly out of order, even with a plan.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And that video would definitely do really, really well, because people too don't even think about funeral photography at all. But that's the one time probably the majority of the family and the group of like it's weddings and funerals. Like and for some families is more funerals than it is weddings. Where like my grandma passed away May 21, and the fact that like people flying in from all parts of the country just because it's like. Oh, I'm going to be there for my grandma, or I'm going to be there for my auntie, or I'm going to be there for my friend that I haven't seen, and, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's no guest list for that. There's no, worry about, maybe a repass list, but there's no, but there are things, but my point is that there are things that have lists and things that can have order Then there are other things like a wedding shower, like a baby shower shot list. There are things that you don't know what you don't know. And we as vendors do this all the time. And we see things. So it's incumbent upon us to either put that information out there, which is great for TikTok because nobody, thinks about a wedding shower. I've done a lot of wedding showers. I've never had a shot list given to me. So now what I'm doing, I'm creating a shot list for wedding showers or bridal showers. But until last weekend, I never did it. So that's a content creation kind of thing that people have to know that creates a better experience. I'm all about customer experience. If you know me, I want customer experience. I want 5-star experience from the time you sign a contract to the time that you get your photos and your videos. And if that helps with that, I'm all for it.
I love that. I was just talking to a friend earlier today about experience and how some vendors do not care. They will give you the end result and that's what you pay for. But then there are some vendors that do actually care about the overall experience. So for that to always just kind of be in your mind, like, what is something I can do to elevate like this time that you're going through and the relationship you're going to have with me as a trusted vendor. I absolutely love that. But going back a little bit to what you were saying about like, even with the wedding shower shot list and the ideas and the things that you think about when it comes to whether it's the vendor content creator or like the bride content creator, are you noticing that like there are some that just kind of go with the status quo? Because I feel like in the content creator space overall, not even just weddings or what have you, just content creator, TM, influencers, all of that, a lot of it feels very redundant, meaning the type of videos you're seeing, the type of posts that are being put out. And so are you noticing that as well, even in like maybe the wedding content creator space? Like, are you feeling as if that maybe brides and the vendors are feeling as if like, I have to do these, I have to get these type of videos, or I have to get these type of, moments because I'm hoping that's going to go viral? Because I feel like that's really the end goal for a lot of this is like someone sees what I did basically. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think it's still fairly new. Well, as a paid situation, it's probably new, but people have been creating content for a long time on weddings, right? Filming behind the scenes. I'm quite sure for your wedding, you had somebody filming behind the scenes, or either just posting it on their own page. Yes, of course, it all can run together. It can look similar, kind of like if you're looking for a restaurant, you on TikTok, you see the same thing, the shot of the door open, the shot of the food, the shot of the bar, a voiceover, the funny text over the restaurant. You know what I mean? You see kind of, and you did a funny TikTok the other day. I saw that it says, you really haven't seen everything, but it's what you've seen, right? Yeah. You haven't seen everything. So I can't say I've seen everything, right? But I've seen enough. Right. What I've been exposed to. So that's why I want to say, what I've been exposed to, Ashleigh, because I haven't seen everything. If you haven't seen that TikTok, please link that in the show notes. Please, my God, it'll set some people free right now. Let's link that in the show notes. Shameless plug for Ashleigh. She didn't even know I was going to say that. See, I watch your stuff, Ashleigh. I watch your stuff. I appreciate it. I watch your stuff. And I listen to the podcast. So what I've seen in the space is that, yes, a lot of stuff is what I've seen and what I've been experiencing, a lot of stuff has kind of looked the same, but of course the dress, we see the dances, we see the what does really well when a male a groom or somebody like that cries, or a good singer, celebrity comes through. I was watching on TikTok and on VH1, a guy I follow, his name is Pastor Keon and Shawnee, Shaq's ex-wife. I don't know if you saw their wedding, and beautiful. And I saw the Ashleigh brothers there, whatever, singing. So that was a content creation that they put out. and they put that out on their own time. So I see people, especially celebrities, or putting stuff out on their own time, or if a celebrity photographer does something, it has their team put things out on the same time. So yeah, it's all going to look similar a little bit, but it's going to put people's own spin on it.
Yeah.
So I think what's going to separate, the women from the girls and boys from the men are what kind of spin and what kind of spin are you going to put on it? And can I rely on your things to be consistent and don't miss? There are photographers and content creators that I can count on, that I know when they get their stuff, they do a certain way and the style that I'm attracted to. It's kind of like if I like a certain show on Netflix, or if I like a certain style on HGTV or a certain show, and I think that's where people are going to separate themselves, because they'll have their own niche of viewers, especially in that space, whether it be something as easy as, like, for instance, I've been doing a few Ethiopian weddings. It could be Nigerian weddings. It could be Indian weddings, or it could be same-sex weddings, whatever that specialty is. And even if you don't have a specialty, it could be a style. So I see it coming. It's here. And I know that I'm probably missing so much, because there's so much content being created all the time. And when we say somebody's a full-time content creator or content creator, there's a little snarky thing we hear. We're like, oh boy, here's another one. There's a whole nother, it's kind of like somebody calling himself a photographer who has an entry-level camera. We see this all the time. No, I'm serious. We see this all the time. We're like, oh boy, here comes another live one that's going to be in our way at the wedding, So now now in photographers, we think, oh my God, we got content creators, Ashleigh. They're going to be on our way, and it's going to be everybody already had their cell phones out. Now we have that. So either we're going to work with them, find ways to integrate them in, because they're not going anywhere. Or, we got to find our way out of this industry, because, and I don't think everybody wants to be viral. I mean, I'm thinking about my wedding. I wouldn't, when I get, married again, I'm not against having a content creator at all. Neither will my fiance be. But what she will say is that we don't want them, I have guidelines, and I want them to work with a photographer and be in one accord with the videographer and photographer. Because I don't want to see somebody with a cell phone on my first dance hovering around. Right. You know what I mean? I don't want that. But that's because I know videography and I know order. You understand what I'm saying? So I know I want people to work together, and it's not a competition. And that's why I told you before, people like booking one photographer and videographer, because I've been in the industry long enough to see photographers and videographers. That's a whole nother podcast, that go at each other's heads to get shots. And they're upset because somebody's in my shot and vice versa. But we're all working for you, the couple.
Exactly. I was going to ask you, how do you think that they can work together? Because I can just imagine for some, like, I'm not taking you seriously. I'm not seeing you as a real vendor. So I'm not including you on the vendor list. And I'm not, like, sharing that this is the photographer, this is the videographer. Or if they reach out, I'm not responding to that.
I mean, it's a mindset shift. It's going to be hard. Like I said, it's not going to be easy, because, like I said, when I think about it, if I have another person that's going to be if I'm thinking about from this mindset where another person is going to be in my way, and because here's the thing, I'm paid by the couple to get certain shots. And if a content creator, i.e., or a guest or somebody else is in the way and I miss a shot, a first dance, that's on me. Yeah. And the content creator gets their shot. So I don't want it to be the survival of the fittest, but I think it just starts with communication. Because if I find out the day of and I try to get your instructions or anything. So the smart photographers are doing this, Ashleigh. They are going right now, and the videographers are saying, you know what? We'll bring that person on our team, and we will either hire them, because if they're under my fold, I can control what happens with them. Right. If they're out there just in the wild, I won't say the wild, but just out there, I don't have much control over that. And therefore things can go awry. And you don't want that. You don't want to be fighting over China and have for a bad experience, because if you have a bad experience, then you won't get what you have paid for. So I'm thinking that if a conversation can be had first, and then if the photographer, which I know some photographers, because I posted this in some Facebook groups and some other groups, that article that I saw that I did green screen on, that they already have those people in the fold that can do that, that can do the content creation. And it comes with a package, or they can do it for a very nominal fee because it's bundled in with some other stuff.
That's where I'm thinking like vendors are going to thrive. And for me, I was also expecting like, because I feel like the end of last year, we start to see kind of like a tick up in articles around this subject. Just because, you know, people are doing their 23 predictions and what trends they're seeing and all of that stuff. But I just felt like, one, I think wedding trend articles are never about like Black weddings. So
They're not.
I
Ever.
usually just take it with a grain of salt. But with that, I'm like, I can really see Black wedding vendors kind of struggle to fully adapt to this. And I feel like it won't be until probably the back half of 23 when we start to see some add that as a service, whether it's they hire someone to just kind of do that, you know, like, and maybe it's an add-on because it's like, hey, you already got the photography package, or you already got the photo videography package. We're also including that, because prior to this, we get highlight reels at the end, right? Like we get the sneak peeks and we get the highlight reel. And for the most part, and it infuriates me every time, the highlight reel is not in the right proportions. So I want to upload it as a story, or I want to upload it as a video to Instagram, and it is 16 by 9 instead of 9 by 16. And that just, you know, but now,
yeah. And we have to talk to, but actually somebody to interrupt, but we have to talk as vendors to clients to say, you, in your contract, you get a 16 by 9 and a 9 by 16. So that's what I do. I can show you right now. I have on my desktop, I have a 9 by 16 and a 16 by 9 version. When we do editing for videos, that's what we deliver. We deliver two versions of, and it's not usually the same video. So it's not like we squinch it up. So that's the thing.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
We don't squinch squeeze the video up. But now, of course, you pay extra for that. So that's an extra fee. So you have to understand, if you want more, not you, but they want more, you have to pay a little bit more for that. But if you want it just squeezed up, whatever, you could do that. But I'm saying, if you want a totally new video, totally new experience, that's different. You can have that.
For sure. And I've thought about just like videos I've seen where even if they do it 9 by 16, it's like they took the exact same video and didn't even like cut. So then you see like the groom is cut off, or the bride is cut off, or you can't really see because then the camera panned, which is now out of view in this now, like with this ratio. So we talk technical, but it makes sense. But we want an experience, a good experience on a mobile phone. And then if you're watching it on your smart TV, widescreen, 1080 or 4K, we want a great experience on both. Now, will it be exactly? No, but you've seen these videos. They work. And in the contracts now, I tell people that. That's what I'm doing that for the wedding shower. I just did. I in the contract, I said, we'll do a widescreen, and then we'll have the 9 by 16 and 16 by 9. So if you tell people up front, the biggest thing with this stuff is communication, right? For sure. I want to say, and our vendors, and including me, I'm putting myself in this case because I'm going to be a vendor and a client again, but we have to communicate what we want, put it in writing, sign off on it. And if they don't deliver, then that's what contracts are for, right? That's what contracts. Before I came on a podcast, I signed off on something to say I would be on the podcast. It's very professional. I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was getting into. Yeah. So it was no secrets. So why can't we do that with things we're paying thousands of dollars for? Exactly.
Or even free, because that even, or even free. If it's a free content, at least let me know that it's free and let me sign like a Microsoft Word document for 4 lines or something like that, saying what I'm going to get on the date. So. But I think it's happening. People are moving their way. But I agree, the trends are we're going to see this at the end of 2023. But I predict in 2024, more people and more people are getting onto this. And it's going to be younger people. I'm talking about 21, 22.
Yes.
I have a 16-year-old daughter. She may be interested in doing this in a few years. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So when she's of age to be married, I'm quite sure, whenever she gets married, I guarantee she's going to have a content creator.
Oh, for sure.
Positive.
It is going to be a go-to vendor, just like having a photographer, having a venue. Like, you're going to have a content creator. Do you think that the content creator will surpass the videographer? Like, it'll just get to a point where they're like, nope, just give it to me in these microdoses.
I'm hoping not, because I think that the videography is needed. It's an art and a science to it. The people have trained. I'm hoping not. I want to say it will take some things from some videographers, but I don't think that telling a story, it's like, it's really like, say, Netflix has replaced movie theaters. Has movie theaters gone out of business? Some of them, but people, even after the pandemic, people go to the movies. Has Netflix and HBO Max curbed down some movie theaters? Probably a little bit, but really, when you want to see the movies, you want to go, see the movie and then see it in the big screen and regardless. So I don't think that they will ever totally replace them. I think it will curb down. It will be like the Netflix effect. Will it go down a little bit? Of course, but will it be extinct? No.
I hope not. Oh. I think videography is just so, like, when we got our videos back, it just brings you back to that day where
pictures can't do that.
Right. And I can't even imagine, like, I mean, we had folks that are like, we film reception and, different parts and stuff like that. And getting those videos, it's cool to see it from their perspective, but it wasn't the same as like watching a 9-minute clip of our entire day all over again. Like that gives you, it's emotional. Like it hits different.
and then when your children, and 20 years from now, 30 years from now, your grandchildren, our grandparents didn't have that. You know what I mean? My grandparents, when they got married, they didn't have a video. They barely had photos that they could show us. They may have some, but it's in a book somewhere. We had to dig them up. But now, 20, 30 years from now, you can show your children and their grandchildren, hey, this what happened when mommy and daddy got married in 2018, 2019, and this is how it looked back then. Exactly. So whenever I'm shooting, I'm not shooting for 2023. I'm shooting for 2028 and beyond. I'm talking 5 to 8 years out because I'm just thinking about what people will want. And most people where we are now, we have more days, behind us than ahead of us. You know what I mean? Right. So we just want to make sure that we capture these moments, because you just never know. I mean, you just never, ever know how many people don't make it to 2023. And we want to capture those things and not play games. This is people's livelihoods. This is their life. And these are moments that families may never get back together. And this happened to me many times where I've taken pictures and I get calls as, hey, can you send this picture because so-and-so auntie did this or that, and that's the last time. So I think these content creators are important. It's just another way that we could document and get it. Yeah, it can be a little weird and different. And I know but I'm from the mindset of, if it's going to help us document it, I'm all for it. And as long as it's done in decency and order, let's do it well. And let's have some guidance. And yes, it's going to be a little messy at first. It's going to be messy. But guess what? We can make it better. We can make it better.
For sure. All right. So because the content creator thrives online, thrives on social media, and we've discussed before, imposter syndrome, which is huge and is definitely something that takes place while you're planning a wedding. It can, rather. How do you think that content creation will influence imposter syndrome?
Ooh, that's a deep question, man. This can make it, actually, this can probably, unfortunately, make it worse. I mean, we unfortunately, because, everybody, and I'm just coming from two sections here, as a vendor and then as a client. As a vendor, we're like, okay, yeah, you want this. This is great. But then as a client, you're like, oh my God, I know what this costs. I know to have this, thing of flowers all around or hanging from the ceiling or, the rounds and then live flowers and live, bands and stuff. We know everything will cost. So then we're counting people's coins and we're like, what do they do for a living? And next thing you know, we're like, what do they do? Let me look them up on LinkedIn,
Right.
What in the world? Oh, they're a doctor. That's why. No, but no, they're a lawyer.
Seriously,
that's why. No, I promise you, there's another TikTok for you. Stop counting people's coins, right? when you find out, when you look at their wedding, you look at their coins, you're like, okay, let me see. But it will. It's going to be up to us. I mean, mental health is a real thing. So we have to live within our means and spend within our means. And there are some things and venues and just looking at venues and looking at prices, and we know what the average is. So it can be discouraging to some because here's the thing. And this is what I tell people all the time in photography. And this is how it is with weddings and any high-end event. Your taste is better than what you can produce when you're first starting out, okay, as a photographer. I have great taste in food, but I'm not a chef. So I can try to cook, but I can't cook really well. So the only way for me to become like that world-class chef is to do what? Cook a volume of food. Yeah. So my taste in weddings is like, oh God, I love this, but my beer budget says I can't afford that, right? But my taste is better. So what do I do other than, get a new job, mortgaging my house or doing something like that, right? or selling my soul or doing whatever I got to do. Because there are people, unfortunately, are going into heck of debt for weddings. And it's just not with the economy or recessions. I mean, on the vendor side, it's good for us because in 2020, we took major hits. Right. But now I'm seeing 3 years later that people are still a little cautious and price conscious now. Yeah. And imposter syndrome is real because it's hitting a lot. People are downloading these TikTok videos. Friends are sitting, oh, you should do this. You should do this. You should do this. This cost. Actually, everything costs.
It
everything.
Seriously does.
There's no one gives you anything for free. And if they do, you got to question it if something's wrong with it. You know what I mean? You do. You just do. What's the catch? If it is for free, what's the catch?
Yes.
What's the catch? So imposter syndrome reigns supreme. So what I want to say to people is, if you listen to this, stay focused on what you can do. If you got to do a micro wedding, yes, some people don't want a courthouse wedding. I get that. I totally get that. Do a restaurant. Do something that you can afford. Do a reception. I did just recently a reception for people just at a restaurant, a mid-grade restaurant in the Washington, D.C. area. And they did their vows in a nice hotel suite downtown. Was it a big venue? No. It was 10 people in the hotel suite. And it was fine. But that's what they could afford. Yeah. And will it be on TikTok viral? No. Will it be on a bridal magazine? No. Well, I mean, will the pictures go viral? Those aren't my customers. I don't want people coming to me, Chip, you didn't submit my stuff to this publication. I want to go viral. I'm not your guy. That's somebody else that you want. I'm not that guy anymore. Yeah. I used to want to be that guy. And there's nothing wrong if you are that guy or girl. I don't say anything wrong. But I just know my customer are, and this imposter syndrome is a real thing, and people are really have this comparison trap, and on the vendor side too. So especially on the bride and groom side.
Agree 1,000%. I think we can also get so caught up in like what someone else is doing and forget that like it's literally about two people. All this other stuff does not matter. You can have a 9-tier cake or you can have cupcakes. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. People want the cake with the sword. Let me have the sword and then let me, how many times have you seen that? Yeah. The cake with the sword. Yes. Knowing that that's not a real anyway, but it's just for the magnificence of it. But guess what? After we see that sword cake, we're moving on to somebody else's sword cake.
Exactly. Because someone else is going to find a way to outdo that.
Yes.
And then that's going to be the thing everyone's going to. I saw a video where they made it like a 9-foot tall cake.
And the cake comes from the floor decor comes from the ceiling. I've seen the cake come up from the ashes from the ceiling or whatever. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
What has happened has happened. We've seen people come in on a trapeze. I mean, it's
Right,
just
right.
whatever it is. Here's the thing: whatever you want, there's somebody willing to do it, and you can pay for it. If you want to come in on a giraffe on your wedding day, they could probably there's probably a vendor that can make that happen somewhere.
For
You know
sure.
what I mean? You can make that happen.
Exactly.
So I think that we have to live in our means and knowing where we are mentally to say, hey, it's okay, and we can go forward.
And also, I think just a quick message I want to put out there for anyone that's listening. If your video or if your wedding doesn't go viral, that does not diminish the value of your wedding or your relationship. You know, like there's algorithms at play. There's so many things that could contribute to why it did not go viral, but that doesn't mean a single thing because you've seen stuff for way less go viral, right? Like it could be a video about a dog like chasing its own tail that could get 5.3 million views, but this is something that's very special to you. So I just want people to remember, like this, all the other stuff is just auxiliary. It's just extra. It's cute. But all right. So my final question is, saying all that we've said, how do you see this impacting the industry moving forward? Meaning publications, meaning like media and how we consume weddings.
Well, it's from 2 points of view, because like I said, from the vendor point of view, I think it's going to help us for vendors because TikTok is already, there's a whole thing, and you could do a search on TikTok right now. If you type TikTok SEO for search engine optimization, if you're a vendor, TikTok is results are showing up in Google right now. Okay. Videos are showing. That's why YouTube is pushing shorts all the time. So for vendors, it's really these short form videos, these vertical videos, they can be embedded. How many times do you go to a website that you see a TikTok that's embedded in the website content, the blog? A lot, right, Ashleigh? A lot.
Oh, for
you
sure.
see it. So the SEO is happening for it. So for vendors, this is another opportunity for you to have your stuff out there. And if you're not using it, you're losing. And I think especially people who've been in a game like me a longer time, they get scared because they don't know what to do. Listen, I had my 16-year-old daughter teach me TikTok. I'm telling you, like she taught me what I needed to know. She sat me in the car. I was taking her to school one day. We sat in the car after school and we spent about 15 to 20 minutes. And my first TikTok that I did was her on it. If I scroll all the way to the end of it, I promise you, she's the one that showed me. And I said, you know what? I didn't really understand it until a child showed me. But once she showed me, I got it. And I understand. Now I'm hooked because it gets so much stuff that I love is on there, even more than Instagram. Because the For You page just has that. So I think for vendors, for content creators, it's a boom. You can do it. For clients, for people, it's a thing that you can use for research. Now it's Gen Z. I see stats are saying that now when people are looking for restaurants, they're not going to Google, they're going to TikTok. They're looking for places to eat. We go, even me and my girlfriend now, we go online, and I booked a restaurant for us to eat in DC the other day, strictly on TikTok, because I saw the brunch menu and I saw what people had. I read the comments. I didn't even read any Google reviews. I went straight there.
Exactly.
So even people in my age bracket and older are going to TikTok and looking at stuff. If they're not, their kids are. So I think it's going to be here, and it's not going anywhere. And yeah, it may be banned on government phones and other stuff, but my biggest thing, a short form, 30-second to maybe 3-minute videos are the wave of the future. And if people are vendors and don't get a wave of it, guess what? They're going to be irrelevant. I really believe that.
For sure. I agree. I'm excited, honestly. I think it's going to provide also a level of diversity and just seeing how people are different, because I think some of that is what thrives too. Like some of those videos that do go viral or may come across your For You page is like someone that did not do the same old, someone that's like, this is what we were intentional about. And I just love how that's going to provide another level of diversity, especially because, as you know, like the industry by large is extremely white. And so sometimes Black brides, Black couples, Black people don't feel seen, don't see themselves. Brown people, the others, right? Like all of us, we don't always see ourselves. So I feel like this is another opportunity where maybe they can. But I appreciate that. Do you have anything else, any parting words before we transition into like the vendor part?
Well, I just want to say to people to stay encouraged. Vendors, I want you to embrace the future, embrace what's coming down the pike. 10 years ago, the wedding industry looks a lot different than what it looks today. And 10 years from now, we have a chance to influence what it can look like. And your mark should be left on there. And for people who are looking for vendors, keep on pushing our vendors to do what you want, to push the envelope and not to become viral, but to capture those special moments. And if it becomes viral, that's a bonus. But it's never about the virality of it. It's more about the love that you share about your day and how you can have that same type of love. I'm very blessed to get a second chance, you know what I mean, at this. So I see it from both angles now, Ashleigh. I see it from a vendor standpoint. Now I see it from a future client standpoint, where that I want my love to be captured. That's all I want. If it goes viral and it blesses somebody, that's great. But guess what? If 15 people hit the like button, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
If 1,500 people hit the like button, I'm okay with that as well. And it doesn't matter to me because I'm going to be with the love of my life. And that is the most important thing right now to me.
I love that. It's so true. So true. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, no problem. And I have, like I said, I'm going from both ends just because I'm going to be in the market to hire vendors. And so, and I am a vendor. So it's a weird kind of thing to be, but I can speak for both sides.
Yeah. And that gives you more perspective. I feel like you can also gauge vendors probably a lot better because you know what's good and you know what isn't good.
I do, but it's hard because I'm not hard to work with, but it's harder because my future fiance, she's going to look at me for guidance for a lot of stuff. And sometimes I want us to make decisions together because I already know. And it's hard even finding a venue because I shot at so many venues that say, I don't like that venue because of this. I don't like that venue because of that. And this and this and this and this and this. So she doesn't bring a lot of stuff that she finds on TikTok to me unless I find it and we find it together. And so that's one challenge. So, because I've shot over the years so many places. That's why I kind of wanted a Caribbean wedding, but we're still figuring out what kind of intimate wedding we're going to have. We're going to have an intimate wedding, but it's not going to be anything great.
Now we're going to move into our wedding vendor love. This is the segment where we get to show love to our favorite vendors, and we encourage everyone to do this every single episode. So, Chip, who are you shouting out this week?
Wow, this is an honor. I'm so glad that you all do this. Well, first of all, before I shout these three businesses out, I want to say that there are three ladies. And if it weren't for Black women, I probably would not be in business. So I know that for sure, especially with the support, with the love, with the money, just everything. As a Black man in the wedding space, without Black women, I would not even have anything. So these are three women I feel that are on the rise, that are doing things in the DMV area. I'm in the DMV area, so I'm going to shout out people locally here. The first person I'm going to shout out, two people are wedding planners. Our first one is named Cheryl Yadam. She's a wedding planner, Lotus Event Management. She's in Washington, D.C. She's not only a friend, but she's a great planner. And I think that she deserves to be shouted out because she is on the rise. I've seen her work that she's done. The second wedding planner I want to shout out, her name is Jennifer Gartley. She's out of the Baltimore area. I've worked with her many times. Excellent planner. And she also does a great job, not only with timelines and just making sure everything runs smoothly. And if you don't have a planner, you need a planner for a wedding. I'm telling you, it's just work so much better. And you can give some of that weight to the planner. Third person are a sister duo. They're out of Woodbridge, Virginia. They're called Class and Style Productions. They're veterans. They work there. They're unashamedly my mentees, former mentees, but they're excellent. I've seen their business grow. I see the attention to detail that they do. And these are people that are rising. They may not be known. They may not have millions of followers, may not have thousands of Instagram followers, but guess what? They have a lot of heart. And these women are really doing it. And Black women rock, Black girls rock. And, as a father of 3 daughters, I just want to see everybody to succeed, especially our Black women.
I love that. Oh, that was so sweet, Chip. That was so nice. You're a girl dad. I didn't realize
yes,
that.
3 girls, teenagers, all teenagers now.
Oh, that's fun.
Yes, twins. I have twins, and then my twin girls are teenage, 14 and 16. So 14 to 16. So yep. So I'll be hopefully be walking a few of them down the aisle.
Yes, for sure.
Yes.
Ashleigh, who would you like to shout out this week?
I would like to shout out a catering company based in Salt Lake City called Makaya Caters. If you are looking for a caterer in Utah, more specifically, if you are looking for Haitian cuisine in Utah for your wedding or any special event that you were having, please look up Makaya Caters. Makaya Caters is found on Instagram at Makaya Caters, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it right, but that's MAKAYACATERS, or go to basically makayacaters.com. Also found on Facebook. Toniah, who are you shouting out this week?
This week, I'm shouting out Royal Luxury Events, and this is owned by Anna and her husband, Joss. They're both located in the Houston area. They are expert in American, Lebanese, Moroccan, Nigerian, Indian, Arab, and Vietnamese weddings. They can honestly do it all. And so if you are looking into having that luxury, lush event, please look them up. Again, her name is Anna, and she is a lead designer. You can find them on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Pinterest, and Twitter. And you can also find them at royalluxuryevents.com.
Well, Chip, where can people find you if they want to know more, if they want to follow you?
Sure. Just Chip Dizárd. You can find me on TikTok as ChipDizard, and on Instagram and Chip Dizárd Weddings. If you just type my name on the interwebs or on Beyonce's internet, you'll find me. and without a cover challenge, but you'll find me on Beyonce's internet. Well, now it's Rihanna's internet for a couple of weeks. So we'll see how that works out. But I'm just so grateful to have a career and do what I love. And I'm very, very fortunate and blessed. And hopefully you can just hear my excitement through this podcast. And Ashley, thank you, because your podcast is excellent and it's done in the spirit of excellence. You and Toniah, you're doing a great job. And I want to say, when I see sisters and doing things and doing things that are excellent, we have to affirm each other, right? We got to affirm each other and we have to support each other. And I'm going to affirm you and I support you. And I want to make sure that other people hear this and know that you all are doing this in the spirit of excellence.
Thank you so much. And likewise, what it started out as and what it's grown to be has just, it's been so great. I mean, honestly, the opportunity to talk to so many entrepreneurs and really meeting with different brides and just people in general as they're planning their weddings or as they've navigated certain experiences and showing up for each other, putting a little bit of representation out there. I just absolutely love it. So thank you so much.
I'm so glad.
I want y'all to go to find.hueido.com and look at our vendor list. Everyone that we've shouted out for the entire 3+ years that we've been on air, everything's there.
Yes. And not only are all of the vendors we've ever shouted out are on there, all of the wedding vendors we've had on as guests are on there as well. So you can find more information about them and their lovely vendor services on find.hueido.com. And don't forget to leave us a review. Follow us on social. You know we're Hue I Do Wed everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Pinterest. I'm sure I'm missing one, but basically, if you're there, we're there.